Welcome to Beyond You, the podcast where we dive deep into healing, rediscovery, and the building the life you truly deserve. I'm Samantha, your host and guide on this journey. If you're ready to move past toxic relationships, reconnect with your true self, and create authentic connections, you're in the right place. We'll be having real conversations, sharing practical tips, and offering the kind of support that helps you just not survive, but thrive. Each week, we're unpacking how to heal from the past, rediscover who you are, and building a future that feels like you. So whether you're just starting your healing journey or been on the path for a while, let's do this together. Let's get started. Hey, welcome back to Beyond You podcast and Happy New Year. Can you believe it? 2025 is here, and let me just say, you made it. If you're listening, that means you've already survived 100% of your toughest days, and that's something to celebrate. And I want you to really think about how we're stepping into this brand new year. And I know that new year can feel like this massive reset button full of possibility, hope, and let's be honest, a little bit of pressure. And a lot of times there's a lot of us that are going through transitions in this time period, whether it's with a breakup or really into entering this relationship space that feels new for you and that feels a different version of what you had before. But here's the thing about 2025 or any new year, it's not about chasing perfection or becoming a whole new person. It's about rebuilding, stepping into a version of yourself that feels truer, more authentic, and more aligned with your peace, your purpose, and your healing. Because over here and Beyond You, as you know, we're really working on helping you get back to peace every day of your life, because I want you to be able to feel that peace and know that you're already enough as you are. What I want for you, though, is to start thinking about how you can rebuild, how you can heal, rediscover yourself, and create a life that feels aligned with who you truly are, not who the world expects you to be. I know a lot of times we follow in what society wants from us, but I want what you want for yourself, and that means for your relationships. That means for just your everyday life. And so we're not just talking about setting intentions for this year, right? Because I know a lot of times it's about resolution, and know that we're really going to understand on how intentions is the way to go, because when you have intentions, it guides you towards your healing and living authentically, right? I think I've been talking to a lot of you this just past year, and I noticed a lot of people have been more focused on trying to get a certain goal, or when it comes to family, or we just getting past through the holidays, a lot of it was, what is someone going to think about me versus your intention. When you go with an intention into something, it's not just about the holiday, intention within your year, intention within whatever you're doing, it feels more authentic. If you're trying to be in a space where you're authentically visiting, if your intention is to visit family, like what's your why? If that's your intention, then that's the only thing, right? So when someone comes with you a different question or anything, if it's not aligning with your intention, it's going to be about that setting boundary. It's going to be about, do I need to remove myself? What I need to do to fully show up as me. So understand that when we just think about resolutions, which a lot of us do, let's fake it. They feel like a setup. We've all made them, right? I'm going to the gym 5 days a week. I'll stop procrastinating and be super productive. I'm finally going to save all that money I've been saying I would. And by February, we feel like we failed. Why? Because we're chasing results instead of focusing on the process, focusing on the why. So understand that intentions, on the other hand, are about becoming and not just achieving. So we're going to talk about how to set intentions for 2025 that actually feel good, not the kind of resolutions that fizzle out, but intentional steps that help you rebuild your peace, your confidence, and your connections. So by the end of this episode, we're going to break down how to set intentions that actually work, intentions that honor your healing, protect your peace, and help you rebuild a life that feels like yours. So grab your journal, grab your tea or your coffee, and just settle in, and let's get into it. So let's start by addressing the elephant in the room, okay, when it comes to resolutions, because we're going to just really dive into on why it tends not to work. Because every year people make these big, shiny resolutions, and like we talked about, by February, or let's be honest, by week 2, they're forgotten. It's not because we're lazy or unmotivated. It's because resolutions are often built on what we think we should be doing, not what we actually need or want. So, can we agree to leave those guilt inducing resolutions in 2024? You know, the ones I'm going to lose so and so pounds, save 10,000, wake up 5 a.m. every day. They sound good in theory, but they're often built on this idea that you're not enough, you're not doing enough. And I think a lot of times we have these goals because we've been doing it since what, grade school? Okay, if I finish this, I go to second grade. Or I finish this, I go to eighth grade. Like we have always finish this, finish school, high school, then I go to college. We always have these goals that we align with, which is great, right? We're not saying that it's a bad thing, but a lot of times we get so hard on ourselves when we come to these things. There's just another way of looking at it. So resolutions don't stick because a lot of times they're too rigid. They focus on fixing something instead of meeting you where you are. That's why this year we're focusing on intentions instead, okay? So because intentions are about aligning your actions and your values, they're flexible, forgiving, and rooted in self-awareness. Because I remember one year when I made this resolution to lose a certain amount of weight. I think it was about like 15 pounds. Let me not say that. That's not 15 pounds. I would say about like 50 pounds once I had my son. I gained about 50 pounds that time. And I had this like Pinterest perfect vision of myself of journaling and meditating and working out all the time and doing a certain diet, all before, while having a toddler child and a newborn at the time. And for the first week, I crushed it. I was feeling like Superwoman. But by week 2, I was craving the sugar cravings, all the things. I was exhausted. One day overslept and suddenly the guilt set in. And I just really think about how the guilt told me I had failed, even though I was still trying. But that's the problem with resolutions. They're often tied to unrealistic expectations and don't leave room for being human. You don't know when things are going to happen. So a lot of times resolutions fail because they focus on the outcome and not the why. They're rigid when life isn't. So I want you to ask yourself, are your goals rooted in what you actually need? Or are they based on external pressures? So here's your first takeaway. Instead of making a resolution to change something, set an intention to nurture something. Right? Ask yourself, what I want to feel more of this year: peace, joy, connection. Start there. Okay, so now we're going to just shift into resolutions, to intentions. Just how do we necessarily do that? So now let's talk about why intentions can be different. Our resolutions are about what you want to achieve. Intentions are about how you want to be. They're rooted in your values and your healing journey, not just in checking off boxes. So let's say if you want to do a resolution is I want to lose 20 pounds, that's fine, but it's tied to an outcome. Instead, your intention could be, I want to feel strong, healthy, and energized in my body. Do you see the difference? You know what I mean? One is about external validation and the other is about internal alignment. And I want you to be able to think, okay, who am I without external validation? So what are things I want to be able to feel? I want to be able to experience. This could pertain to anything. It could pertain to actual relationships. It could pertain into just when it comes to your health or emotionally, or when it comes to any goal that you have. How do you want to be able to, what do you want to experience? What do you want to feel? When I shifted from resolutions to intentions, everything changed. Instead of saying, whether it's I'll stick to a perfect morning or I want to lose either 20 pounds, I set an intention to start mornings with peace and start with choosing myself in the morning. So some days look like journaling, some days look like working out, but I think it was going with my body and what it needed versus against it, right? If I know overall I want to feel strong, I know it takes consistency when it comes to feeling strong, but also know that sometimes it would take just allowing yourself to do a more low impact workout versus a HIIT workout. Now I know like my body does not like strenuous workouts. HIIT, anything that's a lot, absolutely not. I'm not doing. Pilates, if it's something that is just like a walking workout, something just kind of feels good, I feel excited to go to, versus putting much stress on yourself when it comes to that. Even if it's just walking, like what feels good with your body now. And I think it's some days where I would be able to have, the good hour and some change in my workout. But the other days when the boys are like, not today. You're not doing that today. You're not going to work out, or something's going on. Or I wouldn't allow myself to beat myself up about not following through on the whole hour, right? And I would be thankful for having those 30 minutes, like allowing yourself some flexibility versus the rigidity of a lot of things that come when it comes to resolutions, or even sometimes these goals that have us do. So know that other days it just be sitting quietly with coffee or tea. It's not about perfection. It's about showing up for myself in ways that feel good and sustainable. So I just want to make sure you make a small note to yourself. Intentions give you space to grow, where resolutions often feel like cages. You feel like trapped into something if you really think about the resolution that you have. So a lot of times when it comes to rebuilding, a lot of us are coming after different types of relationships or sometimes heartbreak. So let's talk about rebuilding when it comes to relationships, okay? Because I know a lot of you listening are here because in the process of healing from something, whether it's a toxic relationship, a breakup, or even feeling disconnected from yourself. And let me tell you, rebuilding isn't easy, but it's possible. So the first thing to remember is that rebuilding isn't about erasing the past. It's about learning from it and not being so hard on yourself for it either. The pain you've been through has shaped you, right? But it doesn't define who you are. You get to decide what you carry forward and what you leave behind. So after my last relationship ended, I had to confront some hard truths about myself, like how much I had let that relationship define my worth. Rebuilding for me meant learning to separate who I am from what someone else thought of me. It was messy and it took time, but it also made me stronger as far as really thinking about what I want, really allowing yourself to think about what that is for you. And then it can shift and change at any moment in time as well. So here's some practical steps that can be taken when you want to be able to allow yourself to reclaim your space. Okay, so start with something simple like decluttering your physical space, or let go of items that tie you to old memories or feelings that don't serve you anymore. Like really paying attention on what around you whether it triggers you, or even not even talking about just a relationship standpoint, even your old self or past self, right? If it's something where you used to run, all the time, but you find yourself not in that space anymore. If it's something that kind of triggers you, makes you feel bad about yourself, maybe it's allowing yourself to still create new memories. Like, if you have pictures somewhere, that's fine. But if it's something that keeps reminding you what you used to do versus just allowing yourself to reclaim the season you're in now, do that for you. Or if it's dealing with somebody else, allow yourself to declutter just those things and those items from you, right? And so in step 2, we're talking about just creating new routines, right? So if mornings used to feel heavy, try starting your day with something light, a 5-minute stretch, a cup of tea, or even just opening the window and taking a deep breath, right? Like small shifts create a big change, and seeing what that is for you. And then I don't want you to forget about you, because a lot of times we let ourselves sit in the negativity of things. We don't allow ourselves to really sit and celebrating our wins. So rebuilding isn't a straight line. There will be good days and hard days. Celebrate the small victories, like setting a boundary or saying no to something that doesn't align with your peace. Like really allowing yourself to just celebrate you in those moments. So, okay. So how do you actually set boundaries? I'm thinking about boundaries, huh? How do you actually set intentions that work? Here's the framework I use, and it's something I share with my clients and community because it works. So first, I want you to start with how you want to feel. Ask yourself, how do I want to feel in 2025? Maybe it's peaceful, energized, confident, or connected. Once you know the feeling, build your intentions around that. I'll give you an example. If you want to feel peaceful, your intention might be, I will create boundaries and routines that protect my peace. Okay? If you want to feel connected, your intention could be, I will prioritize meaningful relationships and let go of the ones that feel heavy. Reflect on what you need right now. Before you decide what you want for 2025, take a moment to ask yourself, what do I need most in this season of my life? Maybe it's rest. Maybe it's clarity. Maybe it's the courage to let go of something that's holding you back. Write it down and let the guide your intentions. So if you feel overwhelmed and exhausted, your intention might be, I will make space for rest and joy in the daily life. Or if you're feeling stuck in old patterns, your intention might be, I will release what no longer serves me and invite new possibilities. Feelings guide actions. Get clear on what you want to feel first. Next, I want you to align your intentions with your values. Okay? Your intention should reflect what truly matters to you, not what you think you should be doing. For example, if one of your core values is authenticity, like this is mine, your intention might be, I will speak my truth even when it feels uncomfortable. If your value is family, your intention might be, I will create time and space to connect with my loved ones without distraction. So really breaking it down into small, actionable steps, because intentions are like seeds, okay? So you have to plant them and nurture them little by little. Instead of saying, I want to feel more at peace, break it down into steps that help you get there. Maybe it's 5 minutes of journaling each morning or saying no to one thing that drains your energy each week. So if your intention is to feel more connected to yourself, a step might be taking yourself on a solo date once a month. Whether it's a walk in nature, a trip to your favorite restaurant or cafe, or just a quiet hour to read, like intentions aren't about looking good on paper, they're about feeling good in your life. And that really matters, you taking the time to really thinking about what do you want to feel, what do you need, and what intentions, what steps you can do to get there. So I want you to make it actionable, but have some flexibility with it, okay? We're not going to that rigid space anymore with these resolutions. Intentions need to be actionable, but they also need to leave room for grace. Okay, so if your intention is to feel energized, actionable steps might include moving your body a few times a week, getting more sleep, setting aside time to recharge. But it's not about being perfect. It's about showing up consistently in ways that work for you. So when we talk about setting intentions for, even when it comes to authentic connections, okay, so let's talk about relationships, not just romantic ones, but friendships, family, and most importantly, the relationship you have with yourself. This year, I want you to think about one thing. Are the people in your life adding to your peace, or are they taking from it? Healing isn't just about letting go of the wrong people. It's about making space for the right ones. And that starts with being intentional about the connections you build moving forward. Authentic connections don't drain you. They fill you up. They feel safe, reciprocal, and aligned. But here's the thing when it comes to connections, authentic connections start with you. If you're not showing up as your true self, you'll start attracting relationships that reflect that. So let's talk about how to get intentional with your connections. What I want you to do for this, right? I know I'm really breaking it down because for this new year, I really want you to get detailed and clear exactly on what you need. So step one, I want you to audit your inner circle. Yep. So I want you to, who makes you feel seen, supported, and loved? Write those people down. Then who drains your energy or leaves you feeling small? It's okay to reevaluate relationships. It doesn't make you mean, it makes you intentional. I want you to be able to lean into you. So I want you to really redefine what you want in a relationship. Take some time to reflect on what you truly value in a relationship, whether it's honesty, emotional availability, or shared values. Get clear on what you're looking for so you can recognize when it shows up. So for example, if you value emotional safety, your intention might be, I will prioritize relationships where I feel seen, heard, and respected. This helps you set a standard for how you allow others to show up in your life. Step two, when it comes to this, you want to set boundaries that protect your peace. Start small. Maybe it's saying no to a gathering you don't want to attend, or limiting how much you spend with certain people. Boundaries aren't about pushing people away. They're about making room for what matters to you. Boundaries aren't about shutting people out. They're about creating space for relationships that align with your values. So start small by identifying one area where you feel drained and set a clear boundary. If you have a friend who constantly uploads their drama on you, right? they constantly, I know it feels like emotional dumping. It feels like they have these all emotions that they're sharing with you, but you don't know what to do with these emotions. That's why what I call emotional dumping. Your boundary might sound like, I care about you, but I don't have the capacity to take this on right now. In step 3, nurture your relationship with yourself. Take yourself out on a date, write yourself a love letter, spend time exploring what brings you joy. The more you nurture yourself, the more you'll attract relationships that reflect that love. So authentic connections start with how you treat you. When you honor your needs and desires and you set the tone for how others should treat you, it makes such a big difference when it comes to how you feel about yourself, because you have to understand the value that you bring by just being you within these relationships, and that matters. So I want you to commit to one act of self-love each week, whether it's taking a class you've always wanted to try, writing yourself a love letter, or simply taking a break when you need it. And I think this is important, especially when you talk about writing a love letter to yourself. And I know sometimes it can feel hard at first to do so, but I think it makes a difference when you start from the beginning of what you want to say to yourself, the things that you know that you want to hear, right? So you can start kind of building that space. Because it's interesting, I find, just even in sessions or when we're talking to our younger selves, or even ourselves, period, when we do our meditations within sessions or programs, that sometimes there's some of you, I know I have that trouble too, where even saying I love you is hard, right? Where the words don't even come out of your mouth because of how hard it is. So we want to make sure that we've got to pour that love back into ourselves. Also, when we are going to start rebuilding yourself in 2025, right? Rebuilding isn't let me make sure. What it is rebuilding is about creating a foundation for the life you want. Not the life you think you're supposed to have, not the life that society says you're supposed to have with, the husband or wife, kids, like it's not all that. It's about what you want for you. I don't think we really take the time to see exactly what we want for ourselves. Now society says we want to have. And it's okay if rebuilding feels slow. It's okay if you're still figuring things out. Healing isn't linear, and neither is growth. Every intention you set is a step toward becoming the version of yourself you've been working so hard to uncover. So I just want you to reflect on this. What's one thing you want to rebuild in 2025? Maybe it's your relationship with yourself, your peace, or even your ability to trust again. Whatever it is, take it one intention at a time. So as you rebuild in 2025, I want to invite you into something special, the Beyond You Collective. And I'm so excited about this because this is a space for professional women of color who are ready to heal, rediscover themselves, and build relationships that nourish their peace. I want you to get back to peace every day. And I know there's times, even me just waking up today, it feels really heavy and down, but it's different things and I have to be able to do to really set in a place of peace. And it's not something that I feel like doing. I know it's one of those intention. I know it's a requirement for me to feel and to show up for myself as much as I want to be able to show up for you, for my kids, just to be able to be there for other people. And we'll dive into topics like setting boundaries, rebuilding after heartbreak, even the people who, whether in relationships or not, like I think we don't realize how our mindset takes a huge role in how we show up in our lives. At times we kind of feel on autopilot because we're just going on what everyone says we're supposed to do versus how we talk to ourselves. So we'll have self-talk rampages, we'll have guided meditations. There'll be different lessons. I'm going to have tips and tricks on what you can take and you can always kind of pull out of your pocket. I know a lot of times you guys are like, Samantha, I thought about you when saying this. You're going to have a whole place where you will be able to pick out what you need to hear for that time. So if parents driving you crazy, kids driving you crazy, you will have that place to be able to pick up and be able to just have your mind set for the day. And that's what I wanted to be able to have that for you. So it's not about perfection. It's about showing up for yourself in ways that feel good and true. And if it sounds like the space you've been waiting for, stay tuned because I'll be sharing more details soon, I believe next week. Well, but the thing is, I want you to be able to get on this wait list so you're the first to know about it, because I'm going to have my founding members first, right? I really want to pour into you guys, but only have a limited amount of people. So definitely get on this list because I want you to be able to grab it for next week so you can really be able to start having this safe space for yourself. So before we wrap up, let me leave you with this. Your intentions for 2025 don't have to be big. They just have to be true. This year isn't about perfection or checking off boxes. It's about rebuilding, rediscovering, and realigning with what matters to you most. So here's what I hope you take from today. Rebuilding isn't about perfection. It's about progress. Number 2, set intentions that align with your healing and honor where you are. 3, relationships should nourish you. Start by nurturing your relationship with yourself. I just want to personally say thank you. Happy New Year. I can't wait to get started this new year with you. And thank you for starting the year with me. If you're ready to go deeper, know that I have the Feel to Heal journal, which we are updating into a mini guide to be able to help you and guide you through this 2025 year. It's a great way to reflect, set intentions, and begin rebuilding that clarity. And if you're looking for more support, don't forget to check out the Beyond You Collective waitlist down below. Our communication professional women of color who are ready to heal, rediscover themselves, and live authentically. Until next time, take care of yourself, protect your peace, and remember the best rebuild is one intentional step at a time. So please follow Beyond You podcast wherever you're listening to podcasts, and share this episode with someone who's ready to rebuild in 2025. Your story could inspire someone else to take their first step. Again, thank you so much for spending time with me on Beyond You podcast. Next week, we're talking about handling setbacks in your healing journey. I might mix it up a bit since we have our Beyond You Collective coming out, and I just want to really hone in on the community that we're creating and how you're able to kind of work through things just with other people around you who get it and who are just there with you. So because growth isn't always linear, know that it's always worth it. So until then, take care of yourself. You're worth it.